let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
What is going on, true believers? Guys, we got about a $20 billion pump in the market. Is that great? No. Is it good? Yes, I'll take it. As long as we got some positive price action before that next big leg up. And according to most analysts who are watching what's going on right now, there is a consensus that there is another leg up coming. So if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Let's talk about what's going on. We got Thomas Weekly in the house with a $10 bomb loaded up on Blocky. Damn well better bring it. All right, you got it, man. We also had D Trent going nuts over here today because, you know, he is, I mean, what's the word for a lesbian? A Green Bay Packers fan? I don't know what you call him. Criminal, meth head, fentanyl addict. I don't know. Whatever. You know, we kid here. We love everything in Green Bay that's not in Green Bay. You know what I mean? We like all of that kind of stuff. Amit's in the house. We've got beautiful Sri Lanka. Do you believe in God? I believe in your right to believe in God. Do you believe in Binance? I believe in your right to believe in Binance. Lunk will make you a millionaire quickly. That would be true if it actually did anything. And I'm on an attack vector right now because I do think that there are certain validators in Luna Classic that there's just absolutely nothing that you're going to be able to do. They are going to gatekeep and they are going to prevent progress in that blockchain, and they are going to be unrelenting. And look, you can say what you want about Luna Classic. All nodes controls everything. All nodes controls the validators are renting from all nodes. So, yeah, if you just consider there's about 120 validators, and the majority, probably 80% at least, are releasing from all nodes, and then all nodes is voting against the expansion and well-being of the, in my opinion, by the way, they're voting against it. And, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I'm fingers crossed that something's going to happen. Guys, I already told you that, you know, originally 2 years ago, I was looking for 2.7 cents. Now I'm at 0.0027 at best. So, you know, we're at the point now where about a 40x is, you know, the extent of what I think is going to happen at this point. I don't think it has very much more in it than that. And that's going to be if all, you know, if everything works out to its advantage and everything works out nice, then, you know what I mean? So otherwise, I don't know. I'm going to consolidate my stuff pretty soon. And once I've consolidated my stuff, I'm just going to sit on a bag of Luna Classic and just kind of see where it goes. Now, I still am in a play right now where I've got USTC, and I'm waiting for USTC to spike. And if it spikes, then I'm going to feel good about which way it goes. But, you know, again, I wanted to use that as a flip to accumulate more Luna Classic. And since they're gatekeeping now for USDC, and by the way, it's not that important. Just to be clear here. I'm on Rex's side in this because I think it's important to have these off ramps and stuff like that. But if you need to cash out your Luna Classic, just send it to Weeks, cash it out. Just send it to MEXC, just cash it out. Send it to Binance, just cash it out. It's not that complicated. Being in DeFi, it is incredibly complicated, but really it's complicated no matter which way you go. Also today, we're going to be doing a short on how to buy Blocky if you haven't seen that. And we've got some more updates on content for TARS AI. We did a short on that the other day. We're going to do a full form video today. So make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Let's talk about what's going on in this market right now. And we're going to start off with where we are. So Hype is up 10%, Dogwoof Hat's up 11%, Pulse, we're seeing greens in Pulse everywhere. EOS is up 10% on the day. So, there's nothing surprising out there in the top 100. IP's up 10% on the day. These are expected moves, so page 2, Syrup seems to be taking off. FTT. Woo, it's going to be interesting at some point when we get to the FTT thing. I don't know how far it goes or anything like that, but, Ether moved down 9% today, but it was up big yesterday. I want to say about 17%. So it seems like a typical correction. Prime up 12%, XCN 16%, Giga 11.7. Again, nothing really surprising in the market. Launchcoin down 30%, because of course it is. Remember, we were talking about this 2 days ago, and there was there was an airdrop, and you had the last minutes to get an airdrop, and we got all that. So there would be an expectation of a massive sell-off. That Coinbase hack was not good. And look, I told you before my opinion of Coinbase, and played out to type, did exactly what I told you was going to end up happening. Some way or another, you're going to find a way. Some way or another, they're going to find a way to steal from you. Coinbase is who I think they are. All right. AI Tech is up 10%, Sense up 12.5%, Siren's up 18%, Ski 9%, CFG is up, and I don't know if that's Centrifuge. Yeah, Centrifuge up 30% on the day. Pundi AI is up 82% on the day, 110 million market cap. What does it do? Probably nothing, but here we are. You know what I mean? So BBT's up 73%, dogging me. So we're back to it looks like, in my opinion anyway, we're back to that meme coin paradise where we're just ripping on some meme coins until we get a nice little 60 to 80% gain, and then we're just flipping and disappearing, and it's well. Fear and Greed Index is at 71 right now. The biggest news right now, 3.3 billion in Bitcoin and Ethereum options expire today. What does that look like? Well, most of the expiries have already taken place. So we already kind of know how the land is sort of laid out for the day. So we're up $12 billion. It was 20 billion when we started this, but we're not gonna, there's not gonna be too much of I don't think there's too much to worry about. I think ultimately we're in a good spot. Total 2 and Total 3 and Total DeFi, all three seem to be outperforming the total, which means that the money is still going into altcoins instead of Bitcoin. Now, again, I'm going to say this one more time. We're not going to have an altcoin season, no matter what you think about the way the money is flowing. We're not going to have a full-blown altcoin season until Bitcoin gets to probably 125,000. We're not going to have it. And most likely it's going to be more like 175 to 225,000 before we get that blow off. So at best, we could, knock down a few big wins and just see what happens there. And speaking of which, I think Blocky might give you a nice big win coming up very, very soon. And let's talk about, we'll start off with Blocky. So before we get into the news, Blocky is, and by the way, Lil Puff is having a nice little run today. Not sustained, but it's the start of a little run. Blocky also kind of close last night. It didn't break out completely. We didn't get that gigantic surge that we got that first time. Now, because of that, as a matter of fact, when I look at that, the part that makes me sort of nervous there is maybe that's more like, the direction that it's headed or something like that. Like, am I too aggressive when I'm looking at that? Like, maybe it's just going to be about 30, 3 zeros or 2 zeros 4 would be that next sort of area. I think might be too aggressive on that, but that aggressiveness, you never know what's going to happen. So 1.3 million market cap. As you guys know, I sold all of my other Solana tiny holdings, and we're just kind of riding Blocky to see where Blocky goes, if in fact it goes anywhere. I do think that it will. And I think that we'll see, I think the team's going to be motivated to move this price very significantly and very quickly. It's going to be building over the next couple of days. I think it's following a blueprint. I don't really know the blueprint, but I do think it's following a blueprint. And it's got some big whales in it, which I think is a good sign and could be a catalyst for drawing in new investors. Now, I think that we should take a moment and we should talk and have like an honest conversation about like these meme coins, just so you guys understand. There are some opportunities out here. There are some opportunities for gains, right? Now, what I'm noticing, and you take this for what you will, like this is good and bad, but the things that are pumping are the ones that are being pumped by, they're artificial. They're not just grassroots. And by the way, when I say that, I'm not saying that everything is, I'm not saying everything's bad. I'm not saying everything's not natural, but I'm telling you, and you guys know this, you follow me for the length of time, you know that we were in on it in the beginning. It does escape me the name. However, it was a candy. It was some kind of candy name or something like that. Like it wasn't Animoca Brands, but it was one of those VC companies. They were the ones that were pumping Pepe in the beginning. Now, what did it eventually do? Well, when you look at Pepe and you hit the Explorer and you look at how many investors did they attract into Pepe? And the answer is 434,000 investors are now holding Pepe. Now, and that is a significant number. Good morning. Thoughts about Plan B on Sol? I'm not even covering Plan B right now. I like the name, but that's about the extent of what I like so far. I haven't really seen a reason to think that there needs to be a nice big reversal on Plan B. I was so they hired me for if you remember a couple days ago, they hired me a couple days ago, $400 for a video, and I cashed out about 500. And the reason I cashed out 500, it could have blown up, it could have gone crazy. I just don't know. So now it's going through that rude awakening, and we'll see how the team responds. What I'm looking for right now, or what I would be looking for right here, is a move down because of that. I don't know the capital that these guys are going to have, but you basically have maybe a floor right there. You might be able to say that floor, if it sticks and holds right here, you could say that there's a higher floor than before because you've got this, consolidation like right there. So maybe you could say that it's stair stepping, and then the next step after that would be to kind of capture that trend line right there. So you could see an expanding wedge that goes up to this range right here, which would be about a 3x. Beyond that, I don't know. So, I'm just kind of watching, really, to be fair, like I'm not even watching it at this point. They reached out to me. I'm actually still holding, by the way, the friend of the show. I'm actually holding Speedy still. That was one of them that I did not get rid of because I think that Speedy is going to be one that's going to have one of those big moves. So again, I don't have any logic behind Speedy. I don't think that the team is the greatest team in history or anything like that. Like I don't have any, I don't have any skin in the game, if you will. Like I don't have a friend on the team or anything like that. I just think that Turbo really broke out, and I think Speedy's the only other turtle based thing. And I think all it takes is one Ninja Turtle type moment, and then all of a sudden something like Speedy is just going to absolutely take off. You know what I mean? Just and I don't have any logic for it. I just think that'll probably happen. So Blocky is going to be this is the one I think is going to have a nice big breakout. They're going to be incentivized to get it to about 10 million market cap. Now, the reason that I'm bringing that up, and this is probably important here. So you can see Puff really started to move again just a few short hours ago, dipped down into that 206 sort of range, and then boom, broke back out 50% overnight. Significant move. Did not go back and recapture its top, though. That is where that's, to me, it's going to have to do a lot right now to move ahead, because it looks like, we've kind of lowered, we kind of sort of rounded our top there. If this triple top over here doesn't lead to an explosive upside move, and if we get we don't get a pop up above it and we get stuck at a penny, if that doesn't happen, then I think that the rally could be over. I don't know that it is, and I don't think that it is. But and also Altcoin Daily is stepping into the mix, because it's my understanding that they're making a video on Puff over the next couple of days that we should see pop out here, and that's I think that's going to be a good mover. I think so. The last time they did one, it went from 10 million market cap to 30 million market cap. So there's a possibility that Puff starts to really break out. I don't know if it's going to get traction. I don't know if it's going to trend or anything like that, but the possibility certainly exists. The guys are doing all the right things. And when you look at it from, my perspective, there's not even an exchange at this point, right? So if you're looking at little Puff right here, you got an 8.4 million market cap. It's on a deck scan. There's no market for it, right? There's no exchanges, nothing like that. So, how does it get here under this kind of pretense? And, look, the team is continuing to create reasons to add value to it. That's all I can say. I think the team is going to pump this thing, and I'm not sure how fast, how high it could go or anything like that. But I mean, if this team had $500,000, let's just say that the team had $500,000, 50% of that goes into the price. And what I mean is, people are going to sell along the way. So if the team had $500,000 and they could start pumping the price, then they could pump this thing up to somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 million market cap. So maybe, how do you add value to Puff? To me, then this is my opinion, because we're not talking about use cases or anything like that. You add value by, maybe they've already made a partnership. It hasn't been announced. It's my understanding it hasn't been announced, but they've already actually made a partnership with the TikTok that has 33 million followers for this little Puff. They could start a campaign to add plushies. They could do a whole bunch of different things to add exposure to little Puff. And that would be to me, anyway, to me, that's the way that you add any sort of value. Now, something to remember, it is the same team that did Tima, and Tima went from, 0 to 66 million market cap before settling back down. I want to say at about a 1 million market cap. I don't think it's doing like anything right now. The market cap's 1.8 million. So, this is going to run until it doesn't run anymore. You know what I mean? So, I don't think anything will ever be done with Tima as well. But, just at the end of this past month, if you just consider where it was at 20178, pumped up and did a 6x out of nowhere. So, you never know when something's just going to absolutely take off or do something. But the blueprint is right here, at least in my opinion. It took, before the real breakout, and we're going to use this line right there as the breakout point, it took 28 days before you got into the big breakout. Now, it was my opinion that first candle right there, which took us above the all-time high, I guess that's the one where we're going to say that's the start of whatever might happen, I guess, is going to be right there. So 26 days basically is when it consolidated. It went up, and kept going. And then it got that breakout momentum, that exit velocity, if you will. And Tima, when you look at it from this context, then you go to the markets and you say, well, where did they go? Well, they had Radium, which of course, obviously we had Radium, but here's where it all started getting crazy. You got XT.com. You got AscendX, you got BVOX, you got SuperX, you got MEXC, you got Bitmart, and you got Bitcan. They all kind of came out pretty quickly. So I would suspect that we're going to see the same thing happen as well. And, not for nothing, when you look at Tima, still has $530,000 in volume every single day. And it's got a pretty good amount across a couple different platforms. Now imagine applying the same strategy to Lil Puff. So again, how do you add value? You create reasons for people to pay attention to it. I suppose. I mean, I guess that's the end result of it. So Tima, I would suspect that they're going to do the same. It's going to have the same kind of pattern here. Now, the other thing about Little Puff is zoom in just a tiny bit and you'll see, I mean, again, you know, this thing got to 95, almost back up to a penny just a little while ago. So I'm going to say that it is my opinion that Puff is going to have that big move. Now, I do think, and I'm not sure, but I do think Blocky might be following the same sort of trend, okay, and the same sort of idea. Now, in the event that you get the same amount of liquidity, which is 364,000, into Blocky as you do in Puff, then I think that the end result is going to be about an 8 or a 9 million market cap for this one as well. So I think there's a big path forward for a nice move for Blocky coming up. So that out of the way, let's talk about CC Coin. CC Coin, by the way, for the day right now, it's kind of going through it. You know, up a little bit on the day, but remember there was that downward pressure there, and it was I don't know, like I don't know if I've got this completely right, like when I was looking at it. So if you remember, if you have to buy CC in order to get in order to buy BCB, right? So we know that, but the inverse is true. When you sell your BCB, you naturally are going to sell it back as CCC when you reverse that transaction. And then if you want to convert that, then you're going to have to convert that, of course, to USDC or Solana or whatever it is. So, you know, it could be that people are buying CCC to get into BCB, and then when they're exiting, they're just selling off. And that what we really saw right there was maybe a run up to because it came back down to the same level that it was a few days ago. So, you know, it could have been that maybe, you know, people just bought it up to get to 304. Maybe they just kind of bought it up for that opportunity with BCB. And then once that BCB launched, they made their money off of it, and then they exited back. And the question is, do we have a higher floor? And I don't know that that's the case yet. You know, like when you look at it in this context, you're still in the upward, it's still an upward fashion, but that's what I'm looking at, right? So again, I would think that there has to be a move up here. It needs about 2x for me on CC Coin to just kind of, you know, shake off some of that. So we'll see how this happens over the next couple of months, days, maybe, who knows? But I still remain bullish about it. CC Rewards, same thing. Like they're, you know, it's a pool of money, and you know, I don't know how long that sustains. I do have a question about that. I don't know what the driving mechanism is. Sorry, I don't know what that driving mechanism is right now. And of course, again, we saw this thing rip up here about, you know, 50%. We had a huge run. Now you're seeing it consolidate in range. What did I tell you? The most likely scenario is we had the big move, then we had that consolidation, drove itself back up. We didn't come all the way down, but it drove itself back up into that. I mean, it seems like it really kind of broke that way. And then it came down. And then after coming down, let's poop that back over. After coming down, it's in that 50618 range. That's the golden zone. So I would look for a move back up, maybe to 1693 or 2075 long term. And then, you know, maybe, just maybe, we get a little breakout off of that. Now, remember, it launched the market. The market got kind of dodgy on the days leading up to what was going on. So perhaps we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see. But I think the markets are going to start cooking again. Everything looks like it's lined up. But I think Bitcoin has to do something spectacular. I think we need to see a lot of money going into Bitcoin so that the money starts to cascade down into other into the other markets. So anyway, 3.3 billion in expiries, not doing anything to the market. Bitcoin price poised for a breakout as volatility hits a 10-month low. So What does it look like on volatility? Bollinger Bands, I guess, are going to be the easiest way to look. So on the daily, I don't know about that. I don't know about that either. Well, they're sure looking at a weird lens to say volatility, because for me, volatility seems to be increasing. So anyway, Bitcoin looks pretty hot right now. The RSI up here at the top of the range. The money flow looks like it's trying to come back around. So I still got my sell order set at 106,000. So, we'll see if we meet it or not. We're actually looking at in mixed bag on the futures, by the way. We're really in a sort of mixed scenario. So we're still up 31% on Ethereum, but we're down 13% on XRP. We're up 11% on Bitcoin. We're down 10% on Ondo. We're break even on SWI, and we're down 20% on OM. Not happy with the OM. I really kind of thought that it would have a little bit more upward momentum. Could be that the market just sort of broke down and we didn't catch that, impetus or something. But Mantra, I think that thing's going to absolutely rip. So we're not really making money today. Our unrealized P&L right now is down. We're down a couple of bucks overall because of that. Ethereum is basically carrying us right now on that. And I did throw a little bit more into OM and SWI. And then we doubled up on Bitcoin. So we're just going to hold this and see what happens. I suspect that we're going to have a pump this weekend. And we'll talk about that in just a second here. But Ethereum getting a move up to 2,600. And here's the reason that I think we're going to have a pump. We're getting to the spot right now where we've had a week of Ethereum really running. We had Solana start to recover as well. And we're seeing that motivating sort of factor. And what that is volume. And when you look at the DEX volume over here, I mean, just check it out. We have 4 billion on Solana. We got 3.5 billion on BSC, which means that meme coins are popping. Then we've got Ethereum at 2.3 billion, Base at 1.4 billion, Arbitrum at 1 billion. We got 5 different chains with over 1 billion volume. SWI is not that far out at 672, Unichain at 670. So with a lot of volume in this market right now, and that's retail, or at least in my mind, it's retail. So I think that over this weekend, we're going to see a lot of people kind of looking and saying, you know what, I really need to be part of whatever is going on here. I think people are going to be looking at this, and I think they're going to get real excited about the possibility of the next leg up. And I think that people are going to say, that next leg up does look inevitable at this point. So Bitcoin price for a breakout, rest of the market price for a breakout too. Coinbase stock dropped 7%. And look, I can't just stop dunking on these bitch ass. God damn it. Coinbase stock dropped 7% amid cyber attack and SEC probe. Coinbase stock dips after the cyber attack and the SEC probes into user metrics. The company faces a $400 million fallout and scrutiny. All right. The 1-2 punch of the Coinbase cyber attack and the SEC investigation sent shares tumbling, even as the exchange is poised to join the S&P index next week. This milestone was expected to bolster credibility, but recent events have overshadowed the narrative. On Wednesday, Coinbase stock lost over 9% within 90 minutes of the opening bell. Through the session, they gradually recovered, only to drop again and close at $244.40, almost $19 down from the previous close. Cybersecurity analysts warn that crypto platforms, especially U.S. leaders like Coinbase, are increasingly becoming top targets. A report from Chainalysis estimates that over 2.2 billion was stolen from crypto firms in 2024 alone. Don't forget, by the way, 1.4 billion was, or 1.5 billion was stolen from Bybit. So when we look at this year's numbers, probably going to be even worse. So Coinbase confirmed a cyber attack, which is a lie, by the way, that exposed customer data on Thursday and led to a ransom demand of $20 million. Now, they called it a cyber attack. It's what's called a lie. Here's what happened. Insiders inside of Coinbase at their data center were paid to allow people access. That is Coinbase itself, the employees of Coinbase were doing this. So this is not that some outside Democratic People's Republic of Korea or something like that. That was not what happened here. What happened here is that they literally hired bad people into one of their data centers who then gamed them and scammed them. Okay, so though passwords and crypto wallets were not compromised, attackers gained access to names, contact details, masked bank info, government ID images, and partial social security numbers. Coinbase fired all employees involved and launched a $20 million bounty for information leading to the attacker's arrest, vowing not to negotiate with the criminals. And CEO added that any customers that were socially engineered as a result of this incident, we're going to reimburse them. This son of a bitch is telling you, oh, you know what? No, we're going to take care of it, but stole money from me twice so far with the, oh, we don't support that project on this chain, and I can't get my money off of Coinbase until such time as they do. And this is allowed, by the way. I mean, say what you want. Yeah, you can. As a matter of fact, you can look at me and you can say, well, it believes it's your fault. You didn't know that. Well, you know what? I send Solana over all the time. They support the Solana chain. What they don't support is USDT or USDC or any other cryptos on the Solana chain. And what is that doing? That's trapping your money over there on the Coinbase exchange until such time as they support it. And to me, that is gatekeeping and that is bullshit. Okay. And I complained about it. Matter of fact, I don't do business with Coinbase. I got rid of my Coinbase One account and I quit using Coinbase for everything because of this, because I don't like being scammed. I don't like being scammed by somebody that the SEC tells me is safe too. And by the way, what I'm talking about right now, that doesn't happen in traditional finance. That does not happen in traditional finance. And also, it will not happen with Dev Exchange. Would not happen with Dev Exchange because they don't do business that way. They're not a shady bullshit organization like Coinbase that thinks it's okay to steal from people. So this has zero counterparty risk when it comes out. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on. There's really nothing going on with DevE other than some drawings, a little opportunity to win some money and stuff like that. $5,000 plus a prize draw next Monday. Sign up on Dev Exchange and complete onboarding tasks. Only takes a few minutes. See you there. So prize draw next Monday. So if you haven't, there is a link in my description down below. Guys, I don't know if you like money or if you're just, if you're thinking that some crypto is going to magically turn you into a multimillionaire, maybe. But you might also need to get more money and work towards it. And if that's the case, why don't you take a shot at us making a little bit off of this drawing by signing up at Dev Exchange in the link down below, doing some of this stuff so that you're entered and so that you're registered so that we can be some of the winners. Now, that, of course, puts you in competition against me. And I'm going to win, so it really doesn't matter, I guess. But I don't care. I would just like to see one of us win because we put in the work, we put in the effort. We've been in DevE since the beginning, so would like to see that happen. So sign up and see what happens. Now, so fuck Coinbase, I guess, is my medical opinion. Bitcoin holds above 100,000, driven by institutional flows. I don't really have too much to say about this other than please listen to this to what I'm saying. Bitcoin is over 100,000 by institutional flows, driven by institution. So that to me is as bullish as it gets. So you feel like in May walk away doesn't apply this time. Actually, I'm on the fence. Look, I told you guys my goal, my strategy in January. I told you specifically, I'm going to sell in May and walk away. Well, it does not look like that's going to be the case. I don't know what we're going to get. Now, if I start feeling like we're getting another leg up and we're starting to break out, if I see Bitcoin testing an all-time high one more time and the market seems like it's stretching, then maybe. But I don't think so. I think that in this situation, I think I'm just going to hold. I'm just going to hold and see what happens. I'll eat that dip if I have to. You know what I mean? But it just, to me, it looks like this market could at any time go absolutely parabolic, even into the summer months. So I'm doubting my own strategy at that point. So I'm gonna stick it. I'm gonna stick it and see what happens. Bitcoin price. And by the way, I'm saying that knowing that we're at 70 right now on the fear and greed index. And what I told you guys is sell when it hits 70 and buy when it hits 20 or 30, and you'll be fine. And it's always worked out to this point, but I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? So we'll see. All right. Now, Bitcoin price eyes all-time high as traders brace for supply shock. Supply shock continues over here. And guys, this is a month out data. Remember, my data is a month out data, but what I'm watching right now is I'm watching the price increase right here, and I'm watching the supply on exchange continue to decline to the point right now it's at its lowest level ever. So that's the lowest level of supply on exchanges for Bitcoin, not to mention OTC. So this is just not the point, right? Maddie B, this is not the point. This is not the point to sell. It's just, it's not working out the way that I was hoping for. And by the way, sometimes when you put that strategy out there, and I say that I'm walking away in May, sometimes things come along that just change your opinion of it, So here we are with our opinion completely changed about when to walk away. So Bitcoin. So we're going to stick with what we had before. I'm not going to enter more. If I am 1016, which is my spot, which 1, 2, 3 times so far is where we've dipped down. If we come down and start to come down into that 1016 range, then that's not good. By the way, that's not going to be good for the market. That would mean that we're probably coming down. But if you guys remember, I still have that long set at 100,000. So if we get an opportunity to visit at 100,000, then we've got another buy coming in, but I don't want to add to it at 1016. And by the way, again, we've already dipped down here 3 times before. If we dip back into this range again like that, it's gonna break. The most likely scenario, I'm not saying that it will happen, but the most likely scenario is that we're going to break that support and we're going to start coming back down. So, buy's going to be set at 100,000, and we'll see if we get the opportunity. We'll just see if we get the opportunity, and if we do, then we're going to add to that long. Otherwise, XRP, I think XRP is ready to break out. You know what I mean? I think that first up, it's going to go back up there and test that 340 that we were at not that long ago. It's going to come back up here. It's going to just kind of go crazy and do a big test. Again, I think that June is when it really, really is going to start, or at least when we get. And by the way, here's what, I think that everybody should be looking at a few things that are happening right now. And, say what you want about Donald Trump. He's trying to do what he thinks is best for the United States. He's trying to do what he thinks is the right thing for America at this point, right? But he's also being deceptive about it every day. I saw a meme yesterday, which to me had me laughing, and I'm going to tell you, I was probably laughing for hours over it. And it was, it reeked, by the way, of the kind of desperate sort of attention that I think, I think Donald Trump is looking for a win. He wants the markets to soar. He's invested in the markets soaring, and it's just not happened. So it came down to, for me, this meme that I saw. It was, let me see here. I'm going to pop it on here. If you're in the cult, prepare to get mad. Boom, 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 boom. All right, saved. All right. I think this is about as accurate as it gets right now. This is what I'm pointing out. Okay, Trump tariffs China and ups tariff to 34%. China does nothing. So Trump then hikes the rate to 84%, and China responds with a matching tariff. So then he hikes the rate up to 145. Like, how dare you do that? So then China responds with a matching tariff, and then he says that he wants Xi to call him, and China doesn't call. Trump says that he's ready to make a deal, and China doesn't give a shit. China has not negotiated with the United States. And Trump continues to tell you that we made the framework of a deal. And what actually happened was, according to the Chinese, is we didn't have a framework of a deal. We had a framework of continuing conversations and continuing to talk about it. We have no deal with the United States. That sucks. Okay. So you're being deceived every time. And it's because Donald Trump wants to pump these markets. Now, if that's the case, why would you bet against him? Why would you bet against somebody who really wants to see these markets pump? Okay. That's our side. So I would suspect that we're going to see over the next little while some intriguing announcements from the Trump administration regarding cryptocurrency. Again, June, you're going to see the staking change. You'll see staking being included in Ethereum. That will pave the way for Solana and XRP to do the same thing. So, fingers crossed. You know what I mean? Like, I fingers crossed that this is going to play out to our advantage. But I do think that it will ultimately. So, anyway, what you're seeing right now, by the way, is you're seeing Trump just putting a lot of stuff out there, and he's just winging it, just blah, 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 blahing his way through interviews. And to be fair, it looks like in many of these instances, he's just spiraling out of control because he's not getting what he wants. And what he wants is he wants the markets to pump. He wants the markets to pump. So the fact that it's not, and look, I not that he's got a golden parachute or a golden spoon or anything like that. Like, you know, he wants something to happen. So he's trying to work towards making it happen. And right now, people are working against him. So look for a pullback, but, you know, he will find a way. I'll just put it that way. He will find a way to reverse all this. He will find a way to make a deal that's in the best interest of the United States. You know, there are a lot of people out here putting out like, hey, and Walmart said, hey, prices are going up. You know, we've got our imports right now from China. It's a lot more expensive. So get ready for sticker shock. And you know what? That's, hey, it's what you voted for. So you're going to pay for it at the store, right? You don't have to listen. You know, I listen to it because it's, you know, because you have to know what's going on if you want to report things that are going on. So you got to be aware of it and you got to be paying attention to it. But I mean, again, you know, and by the way, Trump's mad at Walmart for telling people, yeah, well, we're pricing, you know, all this shit's going to come. It's money, bro, money. So, but we'll see what happens. I think, however, that we're going to see a nice little surge. And by the way, we got about 2 or 3 hours before I think if we're going to get a surge, we'll see the surge today. Dow Jones down a little bit on the day. We're getting like, you know, you're going to get earnings and stuff like that. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? People in the North are so skeptical. It's hilarious. I mean, other people are in a cult, so it's okay. Everybody's got their own little cult. Loosen up, please. Have some. Okay. You got my vote. You don't get my. You don't get my. You know, I don't bend my knee. So you get my vote, and that's it. So XRP again. I think that we're going to have a nice significant run. I don't think that we're coming down too much. By the way, as far as Ethereum, same thing. I don't think that we're coming down. If you look at this, it's trying to break out above 2750. I don't know that we're there yet, but we surged in the last couple of hours back up into that 2650 range. So it looks like the market, it looks like it wants to keep moving. It looks like we've got, I think that Ethereum is ready for more. Now, when I look at it down here, it's a little bit cooked. It's a little bit overdone, but on the weekly, it just went green. So ultimately, I think we're in great shape. I think we're really in great shape with the market. The pullback that we got, I think maybe we've already seen that pullback to 24. So Does this mean Coinbase is conservative? Why? I fuck my life. I don't even understand why. The answer to that would most likely have been yes 20 years ago, but I think conservatives are pretty diluted at this point because they have a president who, for his entire life and based on the way that he's done everything, is a liberal. So I don't know that, other than, hey, look, he's negotiating. Hey, I'll give you Jesus if you're stupid enough to believe in that shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. I tell you what believes, if the Don pumps crypto, will you apologize? He already pumped crypto, but then dumped it even bigger than even Joe Biden. So what do I have to apologize for? I didn't say it to his face. Right? And fundamentally, it's not going to change anything that I think of him to begin with, because I went in the beginning and said that I'm going to vote for him because I think he's the best candidate for crypto. I don't give a shit about what else he does. Like, I don't give a shit what he does. And I'm not really worried about it because I'm not getting deported. I got my papers are in order. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me at all. So, Solana 171. Again, same thing. Breakout. Remember, we have a buy order still set, I think, for Solana at 160. So we're going to see if we get a chance to visit at 160, if we get a bounce from there. And by the way, when you look at all these, look at Solana. Solana's not really cooking and overheated. Ethereum looks like it's overheated. XRP looks like it's fine. Bitcoin looks like it's overheated. Based on MACD and RSI, both half of these look like they're ready for a breakdown, but Solana looks like it's ready to break upwards. So we'll see what happens there. Ondo breaking down to 96. I thought we'd get a nice little response and a reversal. We did a full take profit at 120. We're going to leave that there. We're going to see what happens. And I mean, maybe it'll pump, maybe it won't. And am I bullish on AI coins? Name an AI coin. I mean, sure. I ultimately, yes, I think that AI is going to be, but what's an AI coin that actually does something in AI, by the way? Because that's where we run into confusion about what is an AI coin. All right, Delicium. All right, so let's go look at Delicium. All right, so Delicium is building a blockchain-based collaboration network for AI agents, including Lucy and You Know I Love You network. All right, so let's go look at this. AI agents. Okay, by the way, what does a crypto have to do with Delicium? What's the purpose for the crypto for Delicium? I hope I'm saying that right. Delicium. Sounds like I'm saying it right. The ecosystem presents a streamlined architecture to underpin an advanced AI agent network and supporting ecosystem with a focus on ensuring security, scalability, and high-speed communication. By the way, for anybody who's not paying attention, all of those in one sentence, I just gave you the hot button everything phrase. Streamlined architecture, underpin, advanced AI agent network, ecosystem, focus, security, scalability, high-speed communication. By the way, I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I just want to point out all the hot button words are right there and are covered in it. But what's the reason for a crypto? Like the Delicium, you could just have an AI agent. What do you need the crypto for? And that's where we get into that's the argument for crypto, by the way. Like, what do you need? What do you need a token for? That's the question. Am I bullish on AI for crypto? Sure, yeah. I mean, AI does things faster than humans. It calculates, it computes, it makes decisions, it makes good decisions right now, almost as good as humans, and probably better at some point very, very soon. But what's the purpose behind the crypto being in it? That's the question, and that's the answer that we still don't have. So if you can tell me what that is, then it changes my opinion dramatically on that. And by the way, remember, we have Delesium, right? We have TARS AI, which was another one, TARS AI. Now, their architecture on Solana is called Sona, right? The gateway to Solana AI. And they're using Sona, which is you can talk to your Web3 wallet. By the way, they also have a Web3 wallet. Also, by the way, they have an AI market. So they have a reason, or at least they have what looks like a reason to hold TARS AI. Or again, it only looks that way to me, right? The question would be, do I need the tokens for Sona? It's the first AI assistant on Solana Mobile, coming to Android, already on the Solana Saga. All right, so you've got all of this stuff right here that it can do. It can play music, it can provide liquidity, it can book appointments, it can token and project discovery, it can do market research for you, it can hodl and stake tokens, it makes calls for you, it does everything that you want to do from an AI assistant. Now, what does the TARS AI token have to do with all that? That is the question. And again, we have questions that we have to answer there. So do you have to hold some TARS AI in order to use it? If that is, then that makes it a fundamental utility. Does it make it a great thing? I don't know that it makes it great, but it makes it a use case. So the question really comes down to, why does there need to be a token? Why does there need to be a token? And why does there need to be a token? That's it. I mean, that's why does there need to be a token? And if we can answer that, then we're going to be a lot better. Ondo down on the day. SWE had a nice little reversal. Now, yesterday, we didn't get an opportunity. How long do we have peace from the scamming Ben Armstrong? How long is he still in jail for? It is my understanding that he was in jail for 60 days. I don't know if there's good behavior or anything like that he gets out for, but I want to say that most likely he's due out any day now. But I mean, he blocked me and he blocked everybody because we were friends with Cassie and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be at BitBoy. Is that right? BitBoy. Let's see. If there's no activity on his account, by the way, he has blocked me. There's nothing there. So I guess we'll say 60 days from this was not it. This was not it. None of this was. This was where they were. This is where they were just kind of doing whatever the fuck they were doing here. Why? Because no. Okay, so sometime around the beginning of April. It's the beginning of April through May. So he'll probably return sometime early June. We'll probably see that, or maybe even good behavior. I don't know. You know. We just had 4 years of the worst market ever. Now libs are ruining Trump's market. That is retarded. That's fucking retarded. And by the way, I say that despite I kind of understand what you're saying. But if you think that all of these companies are suddenly going to lose money because they want to prove a temporary point of I don't like Donald Trump, and they're not focused on money, that's retarded. That's just retarded. Okay, there's no way that that's real. And if there is, there's going to be a very small amount of individuals, not institutions, who are doing this. The market is ruined because, yeah, I mean, here, Derek, what did he say was going to happen on day one? All prices were coming down on day one. That's what got him elected. Now, let me rephrase that. That's not what got him elected. I think that border security, stuff like that is what got him elected. But the promises that he was making was prices are coming down the day I take office. Did prices come down? Oh, no. They're going up more and more and more. Now, it's not, I mean, basically here, he said what he needed to say to get into office so that he can do what he needed to do. Because of what people saw coming, they started selling off on the market because they want to buy the dip. Okay. So liberals are not ruining the market. And by the way, let's take a moment and zoom out. Does that look ruined to you? Like, Trump didn't ruin anything. Trump just created a buying opportunity. Like, that's, to me, that looks like the stock market is headed off to do what it's always done. It doesn't matter whether Trump's in charge or Joe Biden's in charge. They don't care. They just want to have, they just want to be clear about what's going to happen next. It really has nothing to do with the president, or in a limited capacity, it's the president. But I mean, if you look here and you say, well, Trump, the market was, we got to be, by the way, the market was right here on the 21st, right motherfucking here. Okay. And the market is right here right now. Like, that's not exactly straight, but that's pretty close. In any few days now, and honestly, any few days now with a continued pump, bam, the market is going to be back to its all-time highs, and it's not going to matter. And then, by the way, the liberals are going to say, well, yeah, because the market is the market is the market. He's not going to get credit for it no matter what. And I understand that, and I don't care, because I don't give a shit about him getting credit for anything. That's not the motivating factor. That's his motivating factor. It's not mine. I don't give a shit whether he gets credit for stuff. But boom, it's still going to go to 48,000 or even 50,000, right? There's nothing for or against Donald Trump in that regard. He's trying to fix a market that is broken fundamentally. And if he does fix trade deficits, if he does make the United States a better, why are you fighting with it being a better country? I mean, ultimately, there's less illegal immigrants in the country. And by the way, I don't have an immigrant problem. I don't have an illegal alien problem. I don't care about all that because it doesn't affect me in Chicago. Like, it really doesn't. So I don't have any skin in that game. But I mean, the border should be secure. To have a fight about that just seems stupid. Like, that's just absolutely crazy. And by the way, in the Constitution, there's nothing that says that we need to have better border security or enforcement or anything like that. This is something that was, we're a nation of laws, then we have to abide by those laws. And it's not constitutional law. In fact, there are some big problems with the 14th Amendment right now because it says any person. Doesn't say any citizen, and there are specific laws that say citizen, but for the purpose of deportation and stuff like that, it says any person. So if people are arguing and fighting that, I understand. I understand. I disagree with them. I mean, I think if you're here illegally, you've committed a crime and you should get out because you've committed a crime by being here illegally and choosing to stay or whatever the case may be. And I don't think that you deserve to have a bunch of hearings and stuff like that so that you can stay. And no, I think the right thing's being done, but that's why it wasn't the markets. And I don't think that Trump is, he's not, he'll move. I assure you the market is going to explode. We're just not at the explosive spot yet. We need some clarity. We need not a fake trade deal with China. We need an actual trade deal with China. We don't need a fake conversation with Canada that doesn't result in a deal. We need an actual deal in place. We don't need a fake conversation with Mexico that doesn't lead to a deal. We need an actual deal in place. We get a couple of those, these markets are going to soar. Then we get a rate cut of 25 basis points, and the markets will respond, and they will respond well. And then we get a notice of real, true quantitative easing. We get that, and these markets are going to soar. And by the way, what D. Trent said, will I give Trump credit for that? Goddamn right I will. Because, I don't care if he gets credit. Doesn't matter to me whether he gets credit. But also, it will be because of him that it happened. So you can take that for what you will. Anyway, by the way, the trend line right here, we're headed to 48,000-50,000. It could take a little while. If you look at this, because I'm on like a daily, but if you look at it, I think 50,000 probably around August for the Dow Jones. So I think that we're on a trajectory right now that will take us up into that range soon enough. So yeah. So little Puff is at 88, API 3 having a little breakout, Fias a little breakout. I removed some of these other tokens, by the way. So what you see right now on the screen is what I hold. So for meme coins and for some of the stuff on the Uniswap specific or Solana specific stuff. So you can see what I hold right there. I'm not selling my CC, not selling my CCR, not selling my BCB. I'm going to hold those for a little while, not selling my Blocky. Blocky also looks like it's starting to surge a little bit up to 14. Again, it needs to have a breakout before we can get serious about, getting some FOMO and stuff like that. And I think that it needs some FOMO, and I think Puff needs some FOMO too. So, again, if this, by the way, I do want to point this out. This is the part that's got me nervous, is that kind of break down. We need a top. We need a real top to come over here on Puff. If people don't see another top, then there's going to be a lot of profit taking. There's a lot of people, I think, that are holding on to this based on the fact that they think that, again, TEMA went crazy at some point. But when we look at it from a structure, we were up, then we came sideways, and now we've got a smaller, and it's the same thing back down here too, by the way. You can see that it's kind of trending in a negative way. This is now a bearish chart as opposed to a bullish chart, just based on the way that, so we need a breakout right now of, up above like 1.2 cents, back down to 1 cent, and then we need a breakout up there into maybe 1. It don't need 1.5, which is where I put it, but you don't need 1.5. You just need to be up in that range, and that will be a continuation, and then you won't shake out as many people. But if it slows down and you don't start to see some real movement, then you're going to see a collapse on Puff. I mean, that's just, and it's nothing against the team. It's just, that's just the way that this shit works, So, all right, there you go. So for people wondering, I'm not doing Lunk videos. I'm not moving on, by the way. Taking a couple days off from Lunk videos because I had an idea in my mind about what I wanted to do, and I'm not there yet. But coming in very, very soon, we're going to be changing the orientation, and any crypto videos that I do each day are going to be done through shorts. So this will be our, we'll do our daily show here, and then any other content like this, we might have some, we'll have some long form content that we'll continue doing, but I'm going to graduate, or I'm going to move into shorts, because that's going to increase exposure here on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook. We're just going to start making some shorts and see how it goes. So that's what's happening. That's why you haven't seen any content. Again, it's only gonna be a 1 minute Lunk video every day. Maybe, and we'll see how it goes. But that's my idea. Puff's decline can only help Blocky. I think so. I think the money will move around. I think the money's gonna move back and forth. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for everything that you do. Make sure you hit the like button if you did. And by the way, if you don't like what my opinion is about Donald Trump, I don't care. You don't need to tell me that you don't like it. I understand that you don't like it. There's a lot of cult members, right? And if I support Donald Trump on something and you don't like that either, you're in a cult too. You're all in cults. I don't give a shit about your cult. The only cult I care about is the cult of working out and making money in crypto. Those are the only two cults that matter to me. I don't give a shit about yours. So anyway, that's my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's not financial advice. I'm always right, and we'll see you.